Noah and Sarah Radio Hour. I'm Noah Michael. Today I'm joined by a highly educated guest, Sarah Brand. Thanks for coming on the show, Sarah.
Thank you, Noah. I'm happy to be here.
Today I want to talk about constellations. What do you know about them?
I'm glad you asked, Noah. My favorite constellation is actually Orion, the hunter.
How interesting. Canis Major, the greater dog constellation, is a part of Orion's family, which means they can be found from one another and have similar mythologies.
Well, let's get into it. In Greek mythology, Orion was a hunter who was the son of Poseidon. Many myths involve him either fighting or being killed by a scorpion named Scorpio.
How original.
Right? There are many myths about Orion, including being blinded by a king, fighting a scorpion, as I previously mentioned, and unfortunately assaulting a princess. So he wasn't the greatest guy in the world, but the ending is always the same. He is put into the sky after his death, forever immortalized as the hunter in the constellation.
How riveting. Another interesting thing about Orion is that he's a pet lover.
Really?
Yes, he actually had two dogs, Canis Major and Canis Minor. Before being sent to the sky, Canis Major was a dog named Laelaps, who could allegedly hunt any prey. Because of his speed, Zeus actually sent him to the sky to live on.
That is so interesting. I don't know about you, but Orion can actually be seen between December and February, kind of around 9 p.m.
Really? Fascinating. Canis Major is best seen from December through March and can be seen around 9 p.m. this month.
So we can see our constellations at the same time?
Yes, we could. But how do we find our constellations in the stars and all the other planets when they're in the way?
Noah, I am so glad you asked this question.
This episode of the Noah and Sarah Radio Hour is brought to you by the night sky.
The night sky offers some amazing views and sights. Take, for instance, Orion and Canis Major.
You can find these constellations completely for free by going outside and finding Polaris. To do this, you first have to find the Big Dipper. Once you find that, you can follow the two stars on the end of the constellation until you find the top of the Little Dipper. This is Polaris, aka the North Star.
Now we find our constellations by finding their notable shape. For Orion, you can find Orion's belt, which is 3 stars in a straight horizontal line. From there, you'll be able to make out the rest of Orion's shape, including his hourglass-shaped body and his arrow to his left.
That belt of Orion you were discussing? That belt points to one of the stars in Canis Major. You will be able to see its pointed face and all 4 limbs if you look closely enough. Canis Major is also an open cluster Messer 41.
If you wanted to find Orion from using the North Star, all you have to do is locate the North Star, how we mentioned earlier, and then keeping that point of the North Star, put your finger on it, draw a line all the way west. Then, from there, you'll be able to find Orion's belt and be able to find the rest of the constellation.
To find Canis Major, you do something very similar, starting at the North Star and going west. However, you specifically go to azimuth 190 degrees and altitude 30 degrees. Once again, thank you to the night sky for sponsoring this episode. Now, let's get back to it. I actually have a fun fact about my constellation.
Oh, what's that?
Canis Major actually has the brightest star in the night sky in its constellation.
Wow, I'm thrilled by that.
Yeah, it's called Sirius A, and from Earth, the only star that's brighter than it is our sun. It has an apparent magnitude of negative 1.46 mag, is over 25 times bigger than the sun, and has a radius of 1.71 times more than our sun.
Huh. Let's talk more about this star.
Well, Sirius A is in reality a binary star with a dwarf star called Sirius B.
Seems a bit derivative.
It is. Even though it's only 8.6 light years away, astronomers learned that Sirius A and B revolve around each other.
Wowza.
What about Orion? Does the Hunter have any notable stars?
It actually does, and it houses a series of notable nebula. The Orion Nebula, Damaran's Nebula, the Flame Nebula, the Running Man Nebula, Bernard's Loop, the Monkey Head Nebula, the Reflection Nebula, and the Dark Horse Head Nebula.
Wow, that's quite a list.
Yeah, and its brightest star is called Rigel, which is another name for Beta Orionis. It is the seventh brightest star in the sky with a 0.13 magnitude. Rigel is a blue supergiant that is 860 light-years away from Earth. It has a solar mass of 21 and is 117,000 times brighter than the Sun.
Holy smokes.
Yeah,
Huh. I didn't think two constellations could be that interesting.
I know. I guess the night sky has more to offer than just a bunch of random stars.
That is all the time we have for the day.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Noah and Sarah Radio Hour.
But before you go, we need you to do something out of this world.
Donate. Noah and Sarah Radio Hour is funded by donors like you who are committed to unbiased and reliable news.
Donate today at the link in our bio or by sending money to our Venmo at. Thank you for turning into Star Stories. I'm Noah Michael.
And I'm Sarah Brand.
See you in the stars.